Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today we're going to look at something that I have never shown on my YouTube channel before. Now some of you know that I often talk about my racing background in the sport of drag racing, and one of the things about that is that it's not just about the cars, it's also about the race rigs, and they have gotten so much bigger in the last 20 to 30 years as far as what guys who aren't really professionals have compared to what they once did. Now the rig we're going to look at today belongs to a guy that does some dirt track racing and even has a road racer and even a street legal NASCAR. Tell me if you want to see those. I'll be happy to show you those in a video sometime. But today what we're really going to look at is the Toterhome and the trailer that it pulls, and how a lot of these racers spend life on the road, or if they just go to a weekend race for 3 or 4 days, what do? You know, people don't go back and forth to hotels like they used to. They have everything just kind of in their own little almost way of being a gypsy on the road or something like that. It's all just kind of their own little encampment. And I'll tell you an interesting little story from when I was a kid. In my earliest days of racing, when we started going a lot, now this was drag racing, depending on what kind of trucks and trailers showed up at the track, I would always wonder what's inside that trailer, because, you know, a lot of the time back in those days, we're talking 30 years plus ago, a lot of people still had flatbed open trailers. You didn't see as many enclosed trailers, such as like what we're going to look at today. And so you would always wonder what was inside and kind of get excited. Is it something really special? Is it really fast? Something maybe we've never seen before, my dad and I talking about And sometimes it was a great surprise. Sometimes it was a disappointment because it was just a little car that was no big deal. I just had a big fancy rig. But let's take a look at the Toterhome, and then we'll take a look at the trailer as well, and I'll show you the ins and the outs of exactly what this particular model has. Now, just like what we normally do, I'm going to talk a little bit about exactly what all of this is. And while this is a 2002 model Freightliner, I'll give you all the specifics on the screen as to exactly what it is and what's under the hood here. Here's the thing, you might wonder, what is a Toterhome? And keep in mind, for those of you who already know, I apologize, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of people who normally watch my videos who have no clue about this stuff, so I've got to address it from that standpoint. So the difference between, say, a motorhome and a Toterhome, this being the Toterhome, is that it's specifically designed to haul a trailer with one or more cars in it. In fact, this particular trailer on this one is what's called a stacker. That means that you have one car on a ramp up high on a lift, and then another car underneath, or maybe some kind of a support vehicle or something like that. But that's what this is about. That's why it's built on a Freightliner chassis and platform here. Of course, it has the box on the back that makes it a Toterhome. It's not just a truck pulling a trailer, it's basically a motorhome as well. But that's what it takes to really get down the road, because obviously something like this that is basically just an 18-wheeler with a giant sleeper on the back, or a semi with a giant sleeper on the back, that's what's necessary because of the extra weight and everything that the team is hauling around with their race cars and all their support equipment and all that good stuff. In fact, some of these guys will have a trailer even bigger than this that's more of a gooseneck style, or a fifth wheel, that is on a very similar platform to this, but it can obviously accommodate something other than a tag-along like this one. And they'll have spare engines and spare transmissions and just spare everything, all kinds of stuff. And here's a little hint for you guys. We're going to look at one that has all that stuff in an upcoming video very soon, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. But basically, this is just a home away from home, and in no small way. Now, as you can see, this particular model, of course, nothing new, nothing out of the ordinary, but again, maybe a surprise to some people who aren't used to seeing this kind of thing. This model has slide outs, one on each side, that obviously greatly increases the interior space, and it's a lot more than what you might expect to see. Like I said, this is a 2002 model, but that doesn't mean that it's lacking for some very nice amenities. And before we get to the interior, let's talk a little bit about what you have here with the exterior as far as amenities go. Right here, a freezer, kind of like what you would have as a deep freeze at home. Of course, everything is self-contained here. There's a generator on board that powers everything, obviously runs off of diesel fuel, of course. But you not only have that, but as you can see back here, you also have a grill so that the race team can cook and keep the team fed and everybody happy during the course of a race weekend. Literally everything you would expect at home. Of course, if they want to stay out of the sun and kind of be in the shade, there's also a couple of awnings, one right here on the slide out and then one right here on the area right behind me that's a lot larger, because obviously all the food's going to be in this area. Well, everyone's going to congregate right here. Now, I know a lot of you, if I didn't show it, I've learned my lesson. If I don't show something, somebody's going to ask about it or ask why I didn't show it. I'll show you what's behind the curtains right here as far as the driver's compartment goes. You know, basically what you would have expected to see in 2002. But I don't know how well you can see. Very wide area here. I mean, I'm holding my arms all the way out. I'm 5'10", so that kind of gives you a bit of an idea as to how far my arms spread out from tip to tip on my fingertips. You've got cabinets, you've got couches, of course, things that fold out into beds and all that kind of stuff. Plenty of storage space here. And the generator's not running right now, but it's not super loud, but loud enough to where we decided not to run it in the video just to keep the background noise from being an issue, because somebody would complain about it on YouTube. I know a lot of you are probably surprised that people complain on YouTube. Yes, I nickname those people correction Nazis. Might have to make a t-shirt on that. But as you can see here, you've got your dining area right here, kind of almost like a booth at a restaurant or something like that. Plenty of cabinets up here, you know, shades and everything. It's very comfortable here, and being a smaller area, the big advantage to that is, depending on the weather outside, obviously it's very easy to heat and or cool. You've got, I guess you could call it almost a kitchenette right here. The sink, there's a little stove top right there to cook off of, a freezer and a refrigerator. All of the controls, basically the same things you would see in a typical motorhome or even in your house. And some people are going to say, my house doesn't even look that nice. And of course, one thing I haven't talked about here, but you've seen it on the screen, there's two TVs here, two flat screen TVs, one in the front main area, one back here in the back bedroom. This puts a whole different spin on in the back bedroom, because that's what a lot of people refer to. They have a back bedroom in their house. Well, you've got a back bedroom on the Toterhome. And I think this is a queen size bed right here. And again, plenty of mirror back here, a lot of mirrors, storage, got all kinds of closet space throughout basically, more cabinets up here. And again, the big advantage to this smaller space is you'll be nice and comfortable sleeping overnight. You know, got a window back here with shades you can leave up or put down, whatever the case is. But it's just so interesting to see how this looks. I mean, yeah, I've lived in houses in the past that weren't as fancy as this. But for a lot of you who might be more race-minded, you're probably wondering what the trailer looks like. Let's go back and take a look. Again, going back to making sure I cover everything. If you're wanting to see the way everything is hitched together back here, what does it look like? What do the hookups look like? Well, I'm showing you on your screen right now just so you can see. Now, being that the owner of this truck and trailer, of this toter and trailer, he does road racing and dirt track racing. So basically everything he would do at the track is going to be with the car parked at the back of the trailer, where the ramp door is back there and all that good stuff. This trailer did belong to a drag racer, and they would actually park the car here along the side. Very easy access in and out of the trailer, as you can see behind me, through these nice wide double doors. And there are lights not only here on the side of the trailer, but also on the rear. So my buddy is able to take advantage of that with what he does when it gets dark at night. And even some of these rigs have a giant awning that they can put up and keep everybody under the shade, basically. So when it gets really hot during the summertime, at least they're in the shade. It doesn't really help much because you can only blow so much air through, even with fans and all that kind of stuff, but it helps to some extent. But let's hop inside and take a look at what you can find in this particular trailer. Now I know when we first started racing again as I was a teenager in 1992, we just had a flatbed open trailer like I was talking about earlier, kind of that really old school way. You don't see a lot of that anymore. We just would dream of having something like this, and eventually we did, but as you can see, there is pretty much room for everything you need here. Nice large built-in toolboxes here, plenty of cabinets here. Of course, they're going to have the latches on them that keep them from opening when they are driving down the road, obviously, and don't want any stuff falling in and out of all these cabinets. But everything here, workspace here, just kind of workbench space here, countertops, all that stuff. And even though I don't have it on right now, it probably wouldn't help a whole lot. There is plenty of lighting. You could probably see some of that in some of my shots. I got a couple of lights here above my head. And there's even storage above. As you can see, there's a ladder right here you can walk up or climb up, walk up a ladder. Boy, again, man, that'll bring some comments right there. A ladder you can climb up, storage up there. Again, the owner of this one, road racing, dirt track racing, so he's got tires stored up there and just all kinds of great little nooks and crannies to put different things. Plenty of lubricants and different things over here that are needed on this little shelf that's built in right here. And the interesting thing about that I was thinking about earlier, a lot of you may not be old enough, as funny as this sounds, or have been around on YouTube long enough to where when you see the names on those cans of all the different sprays and lubricants and everything up there, there was a time when you could get hit and lose your monetization on a video because of things like that. I'm so glad YouTube fixed that. And this is the ramp door that you fold down. It's very easy to do because it's assisted, so just do it one-handed. But this is how you get the car or cars in and out. And here is the lift that I was talking about earlier. You can bring one of the cars up here and haul it on the top, and depending on the size of the car, well, that's going to determine what can fit underneath, because apparently with the car that the owner would put up here, there's actually some places where this lift will stop, and it actually would stop right here instead of as high up as it is right now with that particular car on it, one of the cars I showed you in the video earlier. And of course, to make things easier, there is a winch. You can see the lines right here to bring the cars in and out. That just makes it so much easier to do that. And you might wonder, well, with the cars being so low to the ground, what do you do about them scraping as they come out of the door? And again, I know a lot of people are going to say, I know about this stuff. Well, there's people watching this video who don't. And so what happens is you actually raise the front end of the trailer up to change the angle of that rear door to keep that from being a problem. And that is a tour of a 2002 model Toterhome that is pulling around a stacker trailer. And like I said, there are so many variations of what different race teams use. Some people, they just have a truck and a flatbed trailer. There was actually a time decades ago when people were using station wagons to pull a flatbed trailer around in a toolbox. Boy, have things ever changed. And if you think this is impressive, like I said, just wait until my next video where I feature a big race hauler that belongs to a team out of Texas. They have 2 cars and they race all over the country. And I'll tell you what, that one is going to be a whole different deal. So stay tuned for that one. But either way, guys, I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking the time to watch. I got to say thanks to my buddy Ronnie, who owns all of this, for giving me access for the day. And like I said earlier in the video, if you want to see some of the race cars that he has in his shop that I showed you on the screen earlier, tell me down in the comments. We'll do that. One of those cars is a street legal NASCAR, not one that was purpose built for the street. It was a NASCAR that was literally converted over to drive on the street. It's a real NASCAR. So tell me what you want to see, guys, and I will make that happen for you. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.